What is up, guys? Chris here, Bear Market Mining. Thanks again for stopping by. So this week we're starting something a little bit different. We're going to go to more of like a weekly, bi-weekly sort of vlog style video, because let me tell you, being as busy as I am and trying to be like on top of the latest videos and what's happening in crypto mining and being the first to do this, it's really hard. So I can get more content out for you guys, we're going to do a little bit of a vlog style stuff, right? And we're going to talk about what's going on at the farm, how I'm going to be dealing with this heat that's coming. It's going to be summer here in a few months in Australia. You know, maybe look at what I take profits on, all that sort of stuff. And let me know down in the comments, what do you want to see? What would you actually watch, right? Because these videos are pointless if you guys aren't interested in them and don't want to watch them. So let me know what you want to watch first, and then we can sort of tweak it as we go along. So I thought I'll start in the mining room, right? Because we're doing a few little different things. I got to manage this heat. I've got this crazy Leo ASIC miner that I'm trying to duct heat out of. So maybe you guys can give me a little bit of input. So we're going to turn the camera around and we will start in there. All right, inside the mining room. Where should we start? Let's start with the easy stuff. The good old OctaSpace rigs, all chugging along really nicely, pretty much all rented at the moment, except of course for this 5070 Ti that I just bought. It's made me about 10 bucks so far. So yeah, you could say it's definitely seen better days, but that's all right. Early days on this one. I'm sure it will all pick up at some stage. And of course these little, you know, what are they called? Bitcoin solo miners, still chugging away, still haven't hit a block. Go figure, right? Maybe we will, maybe we won't. I'm predicting probably won't. So let's talk about this mining room, and in particular these ASICs, right? Because my office is just outside that door there. So this flue mine has been chugging along pretty nicely for a while, and actually, can you see that in the light there? All this dust. This might need a little clean, but this thing's starting to get pretty loud as it gets warm. So we need to start managing the heat a little bit better. That Volk Miner D1 Mini has just been buried down the bottom with all of this, you know, junk at this point. Don't know when I'm ever going to need 16 slot server PSUs anymore, but here we are. Random keyboard there. We were doing some testing as well. We've also got this one lonely 5900X rig that's just sitting along mining, solo mining cubic. For what reason, I do not know. I just wanted something to do with it because it was doing nothing. So yeah, let's talk about this guy, the AE2. Super profitable, easily my most profitable home miner. This thing's still making about 12 bucks a day or something after electricity. But as you see, we've got a bit of a length problem, so to speak. We've got this AC Infinity S8 on it. We've got the silencer as well, which is doing really, really great. But this thing, let me move you over here. This thing puts out a ton of heat. So let's look at the bootleg strategies we've got going on here. I've got this, I think it's a KS5M shroud that we've sort of got one screw in the top there, just holding it together. And then we've got this, what do you call this? This is 8-inch insulated ducting. We pulled one of these trusty fans out and just ducted it straight outside, and that's made a huge difference. But have a look at it. This is the most bootleg setup I've ever had for any of my miners. I used to sort of take a lot of pride in having everything really nice and neat, and these days I'm very time poor, so I didn't care, just wanted it online. But maybe you could give me some better suggestions. I don't know, I was thinking about maybe running it along the bottom here and then, you know, running it this way and then bending it back up, because not being able to close this door, or sorry, fully open this door when I leave the place is a bit of a pain in the ass. But here we are. So that's really the issue that we're dealing with at the moment, and it's only spring here. You know, only about halfway through spring at the moment in Australia, and it is, you know, it's like 33 degrees plus Celsius during the day already and 80% humidity. So I'm sweating and I've only been in here 5 minutes. So everything's still sort of chugging along nicely. Gotta say, I'm kind of like getting a bit bored with home mining at the moment. There's just nothing happening. These AI rigs are cool, and I would honestly make content on them every single week, but I feel like you guys want something a little bit different. Everyone's getting a bit burnt out on the AI stuff, so let me know if you've got any suggestions with what you want to see, like we said at the very start, and maybe what I can do to maybe make this a little less bootleg, so to speak. I mean, it's working, but it ain't pretty. So let me know you said some suggestions about that one. But all this stuff has been really profitable at the moment, so we will have a look back on the computer, and I want to tell you a little bit about what we're taking profits on this week, and have a bit of the market, and just really keep it pretty raw, pretty authentic. You know what I mean? I'm not going to do any editing on anything, so I'm sure you guys don't really care about that stuff anyway. So let's jump on over to the computer, have a quick look at what we're doing this week as far as taking some profits. Okay, moving on to the numbers side of things. I thought we'd just sort of go through what my different miners are, what they're earning, show you what I've cashed out in the last sort of week or so. We're starting off with, what do we got? This is the L1, that 5.3 gigahash Dogecoin script miner. So making about 23 Doge a day, plus a little bit of Litecoin as well. I think it works out to about $5 or something, a few bucks after electricity. Nothing to write home about. Eek. Let's have a look at this. This 10-minute average not looking good. It should be 5.6 gigahash, I think. One day average is 5.2. So yeah, we're getting cooked on that one, boys. Not great. I've actually taken this D1 mini off. That's on NiceHash. We'll look at that in a minute, but that thing is still chugging along pretty nicely. We've got this the AL2, the bazooka miner, I like to call that thing. What I've noticed about this thing is look how inconsistent the hash rate is. It just like drops down to nothing and then back up and so on and so forth. I've actually just switched over from DXpool. If any of you guys follow me on Twitter or X, I guess I should say, I was having a big rant to them about their, basically I was mining to their sub account, which is what they told me to do. And I noticed I wasn't, it was coming up with an invalid fund. So I had like 1,000 or 1,100 Aleo stacked in there. And I reached out to support and they said, oh yeah, we'll make sure we whitelist you. So I'm like, okay. So they whitelisted me and I finally started getting a balance into my wallet. And I was like, yeah, okay, yo, what about this 1,100 Aleo? And then they told me that for whatever reason, they can't validate that 1,100 Aleo for some reason. So we just lost that. But because I didn't have the staked amount with Aleo, you're meant to get like a 10% reduction or so. But I've actually noticed that I'm getting a little bit more on ZK work pool, which is what we're on now. I was getting about 57 daily, which is where we first sort of started. Then we got 70, 65, definitely averaging a little bit higher. So if you guys have got Aleo miners, I reckon switch them over to the ZK work pool if you don't want to do that staking, because I'm not too interested in staking it, to be honest. I'd rather just have the ability to sell it when I can. Look, I haven't cashed out any yet because I'm still trying to build that bag. I lost like 2 weeks worth of mining for being on DXpool, and then I lost another 2 weeks because I put a fan spoofer in it to begin with that didn't actually work and had to order another hash board. So I've probably lost like 2,500 Aleo for the sake of nothing, which is not ideal, but you know, them's the breaks. Looking at our Casper miners, we've only got one KS5L left. I've moved the others over to NiceHash as well to get on Bitcoin. Because look, they're basically, you know, for 3 of these miners, I'm paying about 19 bucks a day USD, and they were sort of getting that on and off. I don't know what's going on with Ice River hosting. Like one day they're down for like 24 hours. Then you get another email saying there's some electricity grid thing going on. Of course, they never stop charging you the electricity, but them's the breaks. So we just paid out some Casper as well, which we'll take a bit of a look at. As I said, we've got those 2 Casper miners, the KS5Ms and the D1 Mini on Bitcoin. Now I would move this L2 L1, L2, I kind of remember what it's called back on over to NiceHash, but for some reason the Flu miners you can't mine on NiceHash or pretty much any pool. So that's interesting. My theory with the whole KS5Ms, look, if I'm going to be losing money daily, so to speak, I would rather lose it on Bitcoin, right? And dollar cost average at a slightly higher rate. I'm just sort of done with Casper. I've got a good bag of it. If it reaches all-time highs again, I'll pay off my initial expense, but that's it, right? They were basically a big L for me. From a financial standpoint, like I'm not sweating it, but it's definitely wasn't a good financial standpoint. Now, as far as content, it was really good because it sort of allowed me to get into the space, opened me up to sponsors and things like that. So, you know, all in all, I guess you could say it's been worth the money. But that's what the miners are doing. Of course, we've got let me drag this over. See that? You know, the OctaSpace rigs are still going. 3090's up, 4060 Ti, and the 5060 Ti still going. All in all, these are making about $7-8 a day. After electricity, they use like no power. And I know if you guys have seen my videos before, you see how low power they are. This 5090 has just come off a rental, and the 5070 Ti, look, isn't getting too many rentals, which is surprising because it's priced slightly higher than the 4060 Ti and 5060 Ti. It's got you know, the same VRAM obviously, but way better bus speed, I think it's called. I'm sure someone can correct me on that is, but basically it's just a more powerful GPU regardless. So not sure why that's not getting picked up. But let's move on over to some transactions because I want to tell you what I'm cashing out, what I'm not. Make sure you can see all that. Yeah, so we have we're just on my Binance account here. Let me make sure I'm not doxing myself here. We get our Doge paid into this sort of monthly, every few weeks or so, something like that. And then I'll sort of cash it out when it pumps up and down. And these withdrawals are cash outs I've made recently on Doge. So about, what's that? 300 USDT I've cashed out, and I just sort of store that on a cold storage wallet for a rainy day. This payment here is for something else, which we won't go into, but yeah, about, you know, $300 worth of Dogecoin we've cashed out because it's had a pretty nice little pump recently. Well, I mean, sort of not. We did some cashing out on OctaSpace also. I think it was about $150. I'm definitely holding a large majority of my OctaSpace at the moment, but it was a couple of days ago I made a trade. I moved some OctaSpace off here and then sold a bit of it. So what's that? 60, 90 at $120 or so worth of OctaSpace we cashed out. Because if we look at the pricing of everything, right? Like we're supposed to be in this bull run, you know, alts haven't really popped. And one of the things I told myself quite some time ago now was I can't just be a hodler my whole life. It doesn't really work out, hasn't worked out for a lot of people. So, but the miners that I've got that are profitable, which is pretty much everything right now, you know, we're taking profits while they're up. And my very basic sort of trader brain mentality is if it's looking up over the last 60 days, you know, and I've hit that week month where I want to start to take some profit, then I will, right? So if we look at OctaSpace, up about 23% over the last couple of months, that's good. And I'm sort of determining that because like I don't want to go a couple of months without taking profits, right? So if it's up, it's up. If I'm profitable on it, capitalize on it. Same with the Dogecoin as well, up nearly 30%. So definitely looking a bit nicer. Leo's still down 8% over the last couple of months. So as far as I'm concerned, I still want to keep growing that bag a fair bit. And like I said, I've had a lot of time down, unfortunately, with Leo and lost that 1,000 on DX pool. So we're just going to keep holding and accumulating that for another few weeks at least or so. And then we'll take some profit on it. Of course, Warthog. Warthog is up 150%, but all of my Warthog is on TradeOga. So that's twice that I've taken a big L with TradeOga and with Warthog specifically. So that's done and dusted. Poor old Alephium, just nothing happening. Holding on to that bag as well. Cubic's down as well, so we're not selling any of that. Casper, I'm not sure if I mentioned, but I sold about 4,000, I think it was. Cashed it out to USDT just because I've got enough of Casper, and I feel like with the 10 BPS, if it didn't pump then, it might be a while until it does. 8 cents. Look, it was not profitable, but I would rather just take that USDT back, if that makes sense, rather than just keep throwing money into Casper when I could be buying it slightly cheaper. And Bitcoin, of course, we never sell, right? Who's selling Bitcoin? You can't be selling Bitcoin. If you're selling Bitcoin, I don't know, you got something going on. But we need to be holding Bitcoin for as much as possible. And that's pretty much the only thing that is safe from the clutches of my press sell button. Now, one last thing I wanted to talk about, like a little segment, I guess, just about some of these miners that are coming out, new ones, whether they're worth it, whether they're not. Look, a lot of these are just out of reach. The Volkminer D3 making a nice $22 a day, which would be sick, but 3,500 watts, and it's going to be absolutely screaming like a banshee, not worth. Now, this Goldshell XT box, I'm sure a lot of people have bought them already. Personally, I would not be buying one of these. Look, nothing against Goldshell. I've talked about the fact that they've definitely got better quality than Ice River and some of the other companies out there. But I think I worked out with the network hash rate, if they sell 100 of these, the network hash rate doubles, right? So that's $36 a day, and this is at 10 cents USD. You can't see that. That becomes 18 if they sell 200 of them. You do the math. It's just going down and down and down. But you never know. It might be another like a Leo where people didn't really buy as many as they expected, and the hash rate stays sustainable. And to be fair, a pretty decent price range, right? So like, you were to sell every day, you know what I mean, and you manage to get a month out of it, you might start to make half your money back or a quarter of your money back. But I don't know too much about SHA-3X, so I wouldn't be getting one of those personally. I would, however, like one of these Blue Miner L3s. I might see if I can get one of those to review, perhaps 1700 watts. Look, I can run that on 10 amp 240 for you guys with 10 amp 110. You'll need an upgrade, but I would say that's probably a pretty good investment, to be fair. Well, is it a good investment? Maybe not. $4,090. So, let's just do some quick math. What did I say? 4,090 divided by, where is this thing? By $10.47. You'd still be looking at over a year to pay itself off if everything stayed the same. As far as hash rate, which it won't, of course, it will go up. But then, of course, if Dogecoin gets back to all-time highs and you hold, you divide that by 3. So as far as I'm concerned, like with accumulating any more hardware, it's going to be things like Bitcoin ASICs. It's going to be stuff like more GPUs, 5090s, 4090s. Maybe not 4090s, to be honest. I'd rather get 5090s and then maybe 4060 Ti's, 5060 Ti's, some of the low power stuff, because for some of this OctaSpace stuff, people don't need that really high output of a 5090. My 4060 Ti and 5060 Ti have been rented pretty much non-stop. So that's probably what I'd be getting. The Dogecoin stuff, Casper. Look, I wish it turned out the way it would. I wouldn't buy another Casper miner, but definitely Dogecoin. For home miners, and more, I guess, just GPUs, right? Because the resale is always going to be good. CPUs as well, high-end stuff. Times are changing. I've officially sold, I think, 80 GPUs over the last year, and we've turned that into some other stuff as well. So, bit of an end of an era. Yeah, that's for sure. So that is going to wrap it up, guys. Let me know what you think. More of like just sort of a talking head style video, right? Do you like these? Do you not? Do you want to see how much I'm making, what I'm selling? Give me some feedback, because this is the first sort of, non-edited, non-anything, non-planned video we've done before. And I want to see if you guys like it. So drop some comments. Tell me what you want to see, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace! Attention crypto miners, are you ready to level up your mining game? Then look no further than CryptoMinerBros.com, your go-to source for top-of-the-line mining equipment. Crypto Miner Bros stock the latest ASIC miners and partner with the most trusted brands like Bitmain, Goldshell, Jazzminer, and Ice River, just to name a few. Plus, with manufacturer's warranties of 6 to 12 months, worldwide shipping, and 24/7 customer support, you're fully covered no matter where you are. And don't forget, you can use code BEARMINER at checkout or click the link in description to save $70 on all products store-wide. Visit cryptominerbros.com today and start mining smarter.